Namaskaram and welcome to Heritage of India classes, Prabandhams and Stotrams. We are learning Swami Desikan's Sri Bhagavad dhyAna sOpAnam. We are now on part 5. So far we have learned the starting Taniyan and the slokams 1 through 7. And today we will try to finish the next 3 slokams, 8, 9, and 10. There's a little bit of 7 that I would like to touch upon again. So we will start with 7 and then proceed through 8, 9, and 10. 10 is actually a summary of the previous 8 slokams. So in that sense, 10 should be relatively easy to go through. And what we will do, as usual, is we will start by chanting the slokas that we have learned so far. And so in other words, we will start with the Taniyan, and then we will chant the 7 slokams that come right after that. So we will all chant together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a recording that I have put on YouTube already. I'll send you the link later today so that you can start chanting this Bhagavad dhyAna sOpAnam. Okay, so here we go. Let's chant together.
Shriman Venkatanatharya Kavitarkika Kesari Vedantacharya Vargyo Me Sannidhattam Sada Hrudi Antarjyoti Kimapi Yaminam Anjanam Yoga Drishte Chintaharatnam sulabhamihana siddhi mokshan rupam Deenanatha vyasana shamanam daivatam daivatanam divyam chakshu shruti parishadam drishyate rangamadhye Velatita Shruti Parimalam Vedhasam Mauli Sevyam Pradurbhutam Kanakasarita Saikateham Sajushte Lakshmi Bhumyo Karasarasi Jair Lalitam Rangabhartuho Padam bhojam pratiphalati me bhavana dirghikayam Chitrakaram katakaruchibhi charvrittan purvam Kale dutya drutataragatim kantilila kalachim Januchaya dviguna subhagam rangabhatturmadatma Jangham drishtva janana padavi janghikatvam jahati Kamaramastira kadalika stambha sambhavaniyam Shaumashlishtam kimapi kamala bhumi nilopadhanam Nyanchat kanchi kirana ruchiram nirvishat yuru yugmam Lavanyauga dvayamiva matir mamikarangayunah Samprinati pratikalamasau manasam me sujata Gambhiratvat vachana samaye gudha nikshipta vishva Nalikena spurita rajasa vedhaso nirmimana Ramya varta dyuti sahacharim Ranganathasya nabhi Srivatsena Prathita Vibhavam Sripadanyasa Madhyam Bahor Manivararucha Ranjitam Rangadhamnaha Sandrachayam Taruna Tulasi Chitraya Vaijayantya Santapam Me Shamayati Dhiya Chandrikodaраharam Ekam Lilopahitamitaram Bahumajánulambam Praptarange Shayiturakhila Prarthana Parijatam Drupta Seyam Drudhaniyamitam Rashmibhirbhushananam Chintahastin Yanubhavati Me Chitramalana.
Okay, so this is where we stopped last week. So as we mentioned at the very first class, Sri dhyAna sOpAnam is Swami Desikan doing his dhyanam, Padadi Keshantam of the Periya Perumal in Sri Rangam, Padadi starting from the feet, Keshantam ending with the crown or the hair of Emperuman. And so the last angam that we saw is this one here, which is about Emperuman's arms and hands. So since I have a few more things to say about this particular slokam, I will say those things first and then proceed to the next slokam. So let me quickly remind you of the meaning that we saw. So it says that his one arm has his head playfully placed on it, and the other arm is long and it reaches down to the knee. And the Lord reclines in this Lord reclines in Sri Rangam. And Swami Desikan in his dhyanam says he has attained or caught hold of his arms. And then that's a very great, bhagyam really. And he says for everyone, these arms are like a parijata tree that answers all of their prayers, in the sense that it gives them not only what they want in this life, but it also gives them liberation for beyond this life. So he has caught hold or attained his arms, which for everyone are like a parijata tree that answers all of their prayers. And then he says that this holding his hands, holding Emperuman's hands, has given him a great strength, has removed all of his fears. It has given him a feeling of invincibility. And that feeling of invincibility has given him a conceit. In Tamil, you would call that cherukku. And that's because you get the feeling nobody can do anything to me. So that's the feeling that he gets. And so he says, referring to himself, this man is conceited from holding on to him. And my mind, metaphorically, is a wild female elephant trying to burst out. So he feels that he has a considerable energy. There's nothing that anyone can do to stop him, because he has Emperuman covering his back. So that's how he feels. So he's like a Madayane, a very Baditta Madayane that is just trying to burst out. However, there's one thing he says that is holding him back, and that is the beauty of all the abharanams that Emperuman is wearing. He says that the light, the splendid light coming from those abharanams, they hold him back. That the beauty of those abharanams on Emperuman, they hold him back. And as a result, despite this wildness that he feels, despite that conceit or invincibility that he feels, he still feels that he is firmly bound to what he calls a strange restraining post, or a kattuttari in what we would say in Tamil. So he feels firmly bound to it by the rope of the rays of light coming from his splendid ornament. So he compares the light coming from those abharanam as ropes that are binding him to this kattuttari. And as a result, despite this feeling of invincibility, he's not able to do much. Okay. Let me go back to, okay, I have to go to slide number 45. Okay, so here, in this context, I refer to a pasuram from Thondaradippudi Alvar's Thirumalai, in which he says that he feels invincible, and as a result, he says that he has the avalippu. Avalippu means cherukku, and because of this cherukku, because of that conceit, this is Thondaradippudi Alvar talking. He says that we are walking all over the heads of Yama's men. So he says, Naman Tamar Talaigal Mide. Naman means Yaman. Tamar means Yaman's his men. So Yama's men. Avargal Talaigal Mide. Nangal Nadanam Aadikondirikrom. Navalettu Ulitharigindrom means making shouts of joy, shouts of victory, the triumphalism, as you might call it. So that's how invincible that he feels. And as a result, he has that avalippu, he has that cherukku. So he feels that he has conquered Yama as well. And this is a feeling that even on the Shaivite side, the Nayanmars have commented upon that as well. Tirunavukarasar, our upper, is one of the Nayanmars. He says in Aram Tirumurai, he says, Nam Arkum Kudiyallom Namanayanjom, Naragatil Idarpadom Nadalayillom, Yemapom, Piniyariyom, Panivom Allom, Inbame Ennalum Tunbamillai. I didn't have the space to put it on this slide, so you just have to listen to this part here. He says, Nam Arkum Kudiyallom. We are not servants of anyone else other than Shiva Peruman, according to Tirunavukarasar. Namanai Anjom. We won't dread even Yama. That's exactly the same sentiment that Thondaradippudi Alvar conveys in his Tirumala, in his very first Tirumalai Pasuram as well. And then Tirunavukarasar says, Naragatil Idarpadom. We won't suffer in hell. Nadalayillom, we don't indulge in deceit. Yemapom, we will always be ecstatic. Piniyariyom, we won't know what disease is. Panivom allom, we will not bow to anyone else. Inbame ennalum, forever we will be in bliss. Tunbamillai, no suffering. Okay, so the main thing is when you hold on to Emperuman's hands, or when you have surrendered to him, no matter what part of Emperuman you are holding on to, you feel that the complete absence of fear. Okay, so you feel that nothing is going to bother you anymore. You feel ready to change, to take on the challenges of life. Okay, now it turns out that Swami Desikan also has written a Sri Sukti called Sri Abhitistavam. Bhiti means fear. Abhiti means lack of fear. Stavam means a hymn or a song of praise. So he has written this Abhitistavam about a lack of fear. And there's one particular slokam that I would like to cite, because it also conveys the feeling that once you have surrendered to Emperuman, you are not going to have fear at all. Now, I want to say a couple of things about Abhitistavam in particular. Abhitistavam is perhaps one of the most moving granthams of Swami Desikan. Now, why is that? Well, in all the other granthams, you feel that Swami Desikan is a yogi who is appealing, who's praying to Emperuman, etc. But in Sri Abhitistavam, you see the human side of Swami Desikan. And why is that? Because this was this Sri Abhitistavam was written during a very dark period in Sanatana Dharma. So this was 700 years ago. The Malik Kafur, the general of Alauddin Khilji, he had captured Srirangam. And so as a result, many Bhagavatas were killed. And he was out to destroy the Srirangam temple. So what the Bhagavatas had done was to wall off the Periya Perumal, the Moolavar, so that he will not be damaged. And also they took the Utsavar, Namperumal, and they, Pillai Lokacharya, for example, he took him to Tirupati. So, and Swami Desikan himself, during those years when Srirangam was under the siege, under the capture, under the rule of this Alauddin Khilji, he was away in Melkot, or Tirunarayanapuram as they call it. And so this was a very dark period. And when you go through Abhitistavam, so that's when he wrote it. He wrote it when he was away in Melkot, more or less having been exiled from Srirangam by this invading Muslim army of Malik Kafur under the direction of Alauddin Khilji. So at that time, the sentiments expressed in Abhitistavam or almost like the sentiments that you will come across in Panchali Sabadam. In Panchali Sabadam, after Yudhishthira had lost all of his kingdom, all of his family, etc., and even Dushyasana, after Dushyasana had tried to humiliate Draupadi, and Draupadi had been saved by Sri Krishna, at that point, and in that dark moment, Arjuna says something to Bhima. He says, Dharmathin Varvadanai Sudukavum, Dharmam Maruvadiyam Vellum, Kattundom Poruthiruppom Kalam Marum, Dharmathai Appoldu Vella Kanbom, Danuvundu Gandivam Adan Per Endrani. So he says, Dharmathin Varvadanai Sudukavum. Adharma will at times overpower dharma, but dharmam marubadi vellum. So he was confident that eventually dharma will triumph again. So he says, Kattundom Poruthiruppom. We have been tied up by our fate, by our circumstances. Poruthiruppom, we will be patient. Kalam marum, times will change. Dharmathai appoldu vella kanbom. We will see dharma triumph again. Okay? And then he makes a vow. He says, he makes a vow on behalf of, on his glorious bow called Gandivam. He says, Danuvundu Gandivam Adan Per Endran. So he makes a vow on his glorious bow called Gandivam. Now that's a sentiment, Kattundom Poruthiruppom Kalam Marum. More or less, that was the sentiment prevailing during the time that Swami Desikan was in Melkot, waiting for the liberation of Sri Rangam. So you can imagine how painful it must have been. That period must have been for Bhagavatas. There was no Thiruvaradhanam being done to the Moolavar in Sri Rangam because he had been walled off. So you can imagine how painful it was. And that pain can be seen in Abhidhistavam, because there's a place where he says, and you almost feel like crying, you almost feel like shedding tears, because Swami Desikan says, when I was young, I was busy reading Sri Bhashyam. Now, but, oh Lord, I'm now very old. My hair has turned gray, and all I want is to be back in Sri Rangam with all these invaders gone. So you can feel that underlying sadness in all of Abhidhistavam and in some of the slokams in particular. And so to some extent, he was talking to his own mind and trying to rid himself of the fear, and similarly to provide the same effect to his Bhagavatas, who were probably depending on this Acharyan to provide them with courage. So he wrote this Abhidhistavam. There's one particular slokam that I would like to call your attention to. It ends with saying, Tasya nasyad bhayam. Avanukku bhayam enbade kedayadu. Tasya nasyad bhayam. Yarukku bhayam enbade kedayadu. So he defines what kind of a person will not have any fear at all. And so he says, anyone who has done any of these things, panayati, namasyati, smarati, vakti, paryeti va, gunam kamapi vetti va, tava gunesha gopayitu, kadachana, kutaschana, kvachana, tasyana syad bhayam. So tasyana syad bhayam we have already seen. So so anyone who has done any of these things for Emperuman, he will not have fear, he says. Panayati, one who praises Emperuman. Namasyati, one who worships Emperuman. Smarati, one who thinks of Emperuman. Bhakti, one who recites his nama. Paryeti, one who does a pradakshanam. And then va. So va just means or as opposed to and. So he's listing a few things, A, B, C, D, and E. And he's saying, as long as you have done any one of these things, as opposed to all of these things, as long as you have done any one of these things, you will not have any fear. And he adds one more thing, gunam kamapi veti. So gunam kamapi veti means if he knows of any one guna, even one guna of Emperuman, then he is sure not to have any fear. And then he goes on to add all these adjectives. So he says kadachana, kutaschana, kvachana. That is, he will not have any fear, kadachana, at any time, kutaschana, from anywhere, kvachana, at any place. Okay? So he who knows at least one guna of yours, or does any of the other things like praising, worshipping, thinking, reciting, etc., he will not have any fear at all. Okay? Now, so that's what happens when you surrender to Emperuman, when you do a dhyAnam of Emperuman, when you latch on to the Emperuman. Now, there's one other example that I would like to bring up, and this is in Kishkinda Kandam in Ramayanam. So you know about Sugriva and Vali, so they were brothers, and Sugriva had been thoroughly beaten up and driven out of the kingdom by Vali, and so he took refuge in this Rishyamukha Parvatam because he was afraid of Vali. You know, he was no match for Vali. But then all of a sudden, one day, when Vali was ruling the kingdom of Kishkinda, all of a sudden he hears Sugriva, beating his chest and challenging Vali to a battle. Okay, now this is totally unexpected for Vali, because he knows that Sugriva is a coward and also physically is no match for Vali. And so what does Sugriva say? I'll just read a part of Kamban's poetry, which is not here because the next part is here. It's kind of leading up to the poem that I have here. So Sugriva says, or describing Sugriva, Kamban says, Edithu urappi, vandu por edirtiyel adarpen. If you come and battle me, fight with me, adarpen, I will kill you, says Sugriva. Edithu urappi, adatti, that means adatti. So in other words, he thundered, and then adithalangal kotti, vai madithu, etc., etc. He stomped on the ground, he thumped his own chest and shoulders, vai madithu, adithu, alangadol podaithu nindru, ulaitha pusil pukka. So Kamban describes in very glorious detail all the things that Sugriva was doing to stir up Vali. Okay, now Vali is a highly testosterone-driven person. And so he doesn't even bother to think about why Sugriva is suddenly able to challenge him. So his instinctive response was, well, yeah, I'll come and battle you, and I'll make sure that I kill you. So that was his testosterone-driven response, a knee-jerk response. But his wife, Tara, now Tara, she's probably one of the most intelligent women in all of Ramayana, even though Tara is a monkey by herself. So now she is suspicious, because she is the face of rationality, calm thinking, if you will. So she says to Vali, oh, wait a minute, Vali, don't rush into battling. Kotrava, oh king, that's what she means, oh triumphant king. And then she says, Nin perum kuvavat tolvalikku itranan munnai naal. So she says, he lost, Sugriva, a long time ago, Sugriva lost so badly to the power of your mighty shoulders. Idu undu eginan. So he went away thoroughly beaten up and sad. And then she says, Petrilan perundiral. So he doesn't have any, so he certainly does not have the strength to challenge you today. And yet, Pertum por sayarku utrade, yet he has managed to challenge you today. And so she says, there's something fishy here, something we don't understand. Nedundunai udamayal endral. And I suspect, she says, that it's because that he has the support of someone invincible. Okay? And guess who that someone is? So, well, that someone, of course, is Sri Rama. So the point here is, when you have the support of Emperuman, when you feel the backing of Emperuman, fear is something that does not come to your mind at all. You're not afraid of anything at all. And that cherukku, that conceit comes. This kind of cherukku is not bad, by the way, because this is about saying, I'm not going to be bothered by what happens to me. I am fully devoted to Emperuman. My diseases may come and go. I'm not going to be bothered by them. Old age may come and go, but I'm not going to be bothered by them, etc. So that's the kind of cherukku that Tondaradi Pudiyarvar talked about. That's the kind of cherukku that Swami Desikan talks about. That's the kind of cherukku that Sugriva displays in Sri Ramayana as well. Okay, so I just thought I should give an example that kind of reinforces that feeling of invincibility and cherukku. Okay, so let's finish by citing the Narayaniyam rather. So in Narayaniyam, in talking about Emperuman's hands, Bhattatri focuses mostly on the flute in Emperuman's hands. And so he says, may you cool my ears with the nectar of divine music, comprising very sweet and well-played melodies, which cool the entire world, emanating from the holes of the flute held by your two red, soft hands, which are decorated by studded bangles, the flute multicolored from your fingernails, and held very near your lotus face. So you can see that different people, Tondaradi Tiruppanarvar, Swami Desikan, and Bhattatri, even though they all talk about the same Angam, they focus on different aspects of that Angam. Okay, so anyway, so this is Narayaniyam 100.5. And so let me just finish off by giving the poetic translation of this particular slokam. With his right arm a pillow pretending to sleep, and his mighty left arm reaching down to the knee, and I catch and I hold this Sri Ranga's kind arms. They're a wish-granting tree for the world filled with wants. With conceit I am filled from my holding his hands. I am an elephant wild and about to burst out. But this Lord, his adornments all charming and bright, quite disarm me, I'm bound to post all restraint. Okay, so that's the Swami Desikan's description of the dhyanam about the hands and arms of Emperuman. So with that, we are now ready to move on to the next Angam. So we are going on that sOpAnam, on that flight of stairs. We take one more step, we go higher, one step higher, and we are now face to face with Emperuman's face. And so the face, along with Tiruvadi, are perhaps the most celebrated Angams of Emperuman, but they are celebrated in different ways. The Tiruvadi is most celebrated because all the bhaktas, all the bhagavatas take refuge in that Tiruvadi. So if that's the reason that the Tiruvadi is most celebrated. But Emperuman's face is also almost equally celebrated, but for a different reason. That's because of the beauty of the face. Okay, so even though the Tiruvadi and the Tirumukham are about the same in terms of how much praise they receive praise for different reasons. So in this case, the beauty of the face is overwhelming. So that's what you will that's the feeling you will get when you go through this slokam of Emperuman, of Swami Desikan. So here the overall meaning is that the overall synopsis is that Emperuman's face reassures Bhagavatas even when they are far away. In other words, they don't even have to come very close to him. Emperuman will reassure and he will take care of the Bhagavatas even when they're far away. That is, if they are going to the temple, but even when they are far away, he meets them and he makes sure that their needs are taken care of. So let me first go through the meaning of this slokam in English, and then I will go through the word by word description of this slokam. So Emperuman's face, so the subject is the face. His face blooms with a meaningful, intentional, benevolent smile for his Bhagavata. So it is significant that the word used here is blooms or blossoms, because the face is likened to a flower. So the Swami Desikan talks about a very winsome smile, a very enchanting smile, very benevolent smile, and it's very meaningful, very intentional. I'll explain that in a moment. But it's kind of like a flower blooming. Our muhattil punnagai malarndu irikkirathu. So you see that malarndu irikkirathu, punnagai malarndu irikkirathu, that is what he is saying. That there's a smile that has blossomed on his face. And then his lower lip and upper lip are a gorgeous red, like the beautiful kovai fruit. Now you might ask, what is kovai fruit? In Sanskrit, it's called the bimba fruit. So I have a picture of the kovai fruit. Now the thing is, you have seen the kovai fruit, except that perhaps not in the fruit form, but in the vegetable form. So for example, in many homes where we just use it as a vegetable. We don't let it ripen to the red color. So if you just look at the green one, that's what you've probably seen it as kovakai, we call it. Kovakai or dondakai, as some people call it. So kovakai, dondakai, bimba, they all mean the same thing. So when it ripens to a fruit, it becomes very red in color, and that's the color of the Emperuman's lips. That's what Swami Desikan is saying. So his lower lip and upper lip are a gorgeous red, like the beautiful kovai fruit. And when people are Bhagavatas who love or desire their distress to go away approach, that is, the Bhagavatas, they want their distress to go away. And these Bhagavatas, when they approach him, when they approach Sri Rangam, for example, so even when they are far away from the temple, he gives them, Emperman gives them his compassionate presence or kataksham, even when they are far away, okay? And then he goes on to say that Emperman's face is very charming, very beautiful, and there's a golden tilakam that is handsomely decorating his face. And then this Lord of Srirangam, his kataksham, his eyes or his kataksham, his netram, as he says here, his kataksham, it firmly clings to my heart. He goes on to describe that eye in detail. He says that eye is very welcoming and very generously welcoming, he says. So his kataksham is very welcoming, very generously welcoming, and my heart or that kataksham clings to my heart. So that's the meaning of this particular slokam. So let's go through the slokam word by word. Sabhiprayas smita vikasitam. So the meaning is supposed to be his face blooms with a meaningful, intentional, benevolent smile for his bhagavatas. Now, smita means a smile. Vikasitam means blooms or blossoms. So, smita vikasitam is the key phrase. Our Emperuman in Mugathil, punnagai malarndirikkirathu. Okay, so it's exactly the translation of smita vikasitam. And it's a sabhipraya. What does sabhipraya mean? Sabhipraya means it's intentional and it's meaningful. Normally when you go on a street and you come, your path crosses a total stranger's path. And in this country, in the US, for example, when your eyes happen to meet that person's eyes, he or she instinctively smiles at you or says hello. Now that is a perfunctory smile. So, because they don't know you. So in that sense, it doesn't have the depth. But this particular smile of Emperuman, it is not that perfunctory smile. This is an intentional smile. There is a purposeful smile. It's a meaningful smile. And what is the purpose? The purpose is to reassure the Bhagavata that the Emperuman has got your back. So in that sense, it is sabhipraya smita vikasitam, not just a smita vikasitam. It's an intentional, purposeful smile that has blossomed on his face. Okay, spunnagai malarndirikkirathu. And he says it's very beautiful, okay? And it's charu. The word charu means it's very beautiful. So charu is a word that you will come across quite often in Sanskrit poetry. I think it's something that you should get used to. Charu, for example, if you're familiar with Ashtapadi, there's one Ashtapadi number 19 where Krishna says things to Radha, Priye, charu shile, the muncha manam anidhanam. So he says, Priye, oh beloved one, charu shile, or one having a beautiful character. So in other words, so the charu there means beautiful as well. Charu shile, one having beautiful character. Muncha maimanam anidhanam, abandon your anger toward me, which is unfounded, he says. But anyway, the point is, charu is the word is a very common word. You should get to know that. It means beautiful. And he says, charu bimba. Bimba is that kovai fruit. In Sanskrit, it's called bimba. Adhara oshtam. So there are two words here, bimba, bimbadaroshtam. Because of the sandhi rules of Sanskrit, the adhara has been kind of buried. Now, what do you understand by adharam? Adharam means, the lips. Now, in particular, adharam in this case is used in a narrower sense. Normally, adharam means lips in general. But here, adharam means the lower lip. That's because Sanskrit has another word for the upper lip, and that's oshtam. Okay, so it's interesting that Sanskrit has, is rich enough to have a separate word for the lower lip and the upper lip. You almost wonder if it has separate names for every tooth of yours. But the point is, so the lips of Emperuman, the adharam and the oshtam, they're all very beautiful, and they are the bimba color. Okay, they're the color of the kovai fruit. Okay. And of course, that the lips of Emperuman are very beautiful. The Madhurashtakam song, Adharam Madhuram, Vadanam Madhuram, Nayanam Madhuram, Hasitam Madhuram, Hridayam Madhuram, Gamanam Madhuram, Madhuradhipater Akhilam Madhuram. Your lips are sweet, your face is sweet, your eyes are sweet, your laughter is sweet, your heart is sweet, your gait is sweet, and you are the Madhuradhipater, you are the king of sweetness, Akhilam Madhuram. Everything about you is sweetness, okay? So anyway, so Emperuman's smile is very beautiful. In fact, I think took this picture because in a way you will see that everything that Swami Desikan talks about is illustrated here. So for example, Smita Vikasitam, so there is a beautiful smile on the face here. Charu Bimba Adhara Oshtam, so there is the color of the kovai fruit, red as the kovai fruit. And there's one more thing that you will see, which will come on the fourth line, I think. And then, so Dukkapaya Pranayini Jane Dura Datta Bhimukyam, okay? So dukkha means, of course, sadness. So first let's talk about Jane. Jane means people. So now specifically he's talking about Bhagavata. Swami Desikan is talking about the Bhagavatas. So he describes the Bhagavatas. What exactly do they do? Those Jane, Janangar, those Bhagavatas. So they want their distress to go away. So they want their dukkha to go away. What word suggests going away? That's apaya. So it's really dukkha plus apaya. Now I've already mentioned that apaya means going away. In one of the famous Bhagavad Gita slokas, I mentioned that there's a talk about agama, apayana, right, and anitya. So the sadness, happiness and sadness, they are like summer and winter. They will come and go. So agama is they will come, apayana means they will go, etc. And so they are impermanent, etc. So apaya means going away, and that's again is a word that you should remember. So because even in Sharanagati Gadyam, for example, Bhagavad Ramanuja referring to Sri Devi says Nitya Anapayinim. Apaya means to go away. Anapaya means to not go away, to stay. Nitya Anapayinim, you are always staying with Peruman. So that's what Swami Bhagavad Ramanuja is saying about Sri Devi in his Sharanagati Gadyam. So he says here, so the apaya, think of apaya as meaning going away. So the Jane, the Bhagavatas, so they want, so Pranayini means they want or they desire their dukkha, their distress to go away. So those kinds of Bhagavatas, even when they are far away, even when they are dura, he gives them something, datta. Datta means to give. Abhimukyam means his presence, his kataksham, etc. So even when they are far away, even when they are walking towards the Srirangam temple, but even though they are still far away, so even when they are far away, he gives them. Datta means to give. Datta plus abhimukyam becomes datthabhimukyam. Abhimukyam means his presence. So he gives them his presence, he gives them his kataksham, even when they are far away. So datta is a very famous word in Sanskrit. I think if you go through the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, you will come across three famous das. The Damyata, Datta, Dayadvam. You must be familiar with those three words, because in the Kanchi Periyava's famous Maitrim Bhajata, you will come across that phrase. Again, it's taken from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Damyata, Datta, Dayadvam, Janata, Shreyo Bhuyat, Sakala Jananam. What do those words mean? Damyata, Datta, Dayadvam. Damyata means practice restraint. Datta means to give. Dayadvam means to be kind. So he says, he's asking the Janata, so people asking the people of this world to practice restraint, to give, be charitable, and to be kind. And then he goes on to say that may all the people of this world, Shreyo Bhuyat Sakala Janana, may all the people of this world attain goodness. Okay? So Datta is the second of those, Damyata, Datta, Dayadvam. So the Datta means to give. In Tamil we say Datta Edutundar. So when somebody adopts someone, we say Datta Edutundar. Well, there's somebody giving that child, and there's somebody adopting that child. So the Datta presumably comes from that Datta, because somebody is giving that child up for adoption. That these words, the Damyata, Datta, Dayadvam, they are very famous, not only in the Sanskrit literature and even in India. It's also been used by the famous poet T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot in 1922. Remember that the World War I lasted from 1914 through 1918. So after this, so this was shortly after World War I. the world was a wasteland because it was very battle scarred by the greatest battle in some sense, greatest in terms of destruction perhaps. They used all kinds of weapons, chemical weapons, etc. And so at that point, T.S. Eliot wrote a poem called Wasteland. It is very appropriately titled Wasteland. And how does he finish that great poem? That great poem is more than 400 lines long. And he uses these words exactly to finish off his poem, except that he permutes those words. Instead of saying Damyata, Datta, Dayadvam, he says Datta, Dayadvam, Damyata. And then he goes on to say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So that it's beautiful. I think you should read that poem. Even that poem written by T.S. Eliot uses the words from this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And it also invokes peace, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Okay, but the point that I'm trying to make is that the word Datta is a very famous word in Sanskrit. Again, it's something that you should get to know. So Dura Datta Abhimukyam. So Emperman gives even when they are far away, Abhimukyam, his presence or his kataksham. And then Swami Desikan goes on to say, Kantam Vaktram Kanaka Tilaka Alankritam Ranga Bhattuho. Vaktram refers to the face. So this again is a word that we will come across one more time before we are done with Bhagavad dhyAna sOpAnam. He says Kantam. You know the word Kanti. Muhatil or Kanti Terigarade. Kanti means tejas or oli or charming. So Kantam can mean any of several beautiful things. So Kantam Vaktram, it means that his face is charming. And then he goes on to say there's a Kanaka Tilakam, a golden tilaka on his forehead, which is embellishing him. So the Alankritam, so it's really Tilaka plus Alankritam becomes Tilaka Alankritam, Kanaka Tilaka Alankritam. There's a golden tilakam which is embellishing Imperman's forehead, this Ranga Bhattu. Ranga Bhattu, Ranga is Sri Rangam, Bhattu is Lord, Bhatta is Lord. So Ranga Bhattu means the Lord of Sri Rangam. So the Lord of Sri Rangam's his face, his Vaktram is as Kantam. It has that effulgence. It has that splendor. It has that charm to it. And the golden tilakam on his forehead is adding alankritam. Is adding embellishments. It's handsomely decorating him. And then if Swami Desikan says here, he's now referring to Emperman's netram or his eyes. He describes Emperman's eyes here. He says that eyes, the netram, it is swagato dara. Now this is really swagata plus udara. What does swagata mean? You're already familiar with that word swagata. Swagata means to welcome. So swagatam, and so it's a very welcoming eye. Udaram means it's in Tamil we use the word udari in a negative sense. Udari means one who spends money excessively. So it's a negative word, but udara generally means generous. Okay. So when we talk about udari, somebody who has taken generosity to an extreme, but udara generally means generous. And of course, Emperman, he never runs out of resources. He has infinite resources. So even if he uses a lot of his resources, he's never going to run out of them. So these netram, his eyes, are swagata, they're welcoming. Udara, they are very generous. So these generously welcoming eyes. So Swami Desikan says, Mama Swante. Mama means my. Swante means his heart. So Mama Swante, to my heart. Vilagati. So Vilagati means it clings. So Emperman's welcoming, generously welcoming eyes, they cling. Vilagati. I had mentioned earlier that words that end with T are generally verbs in Sanskrit. Okay, so Vilagati, you will see a lot of such words later on as well. So Vilagati, so it clings. Not only does it cling, it clings very firmly. So the gardham means very firmly. So it's not just like it's clinging like glue, it's clinging like super glue. Okay, so the Vilagati gardham. So swagato dharanetram, he says the Mama Swante, to my heart, Vilagati, it clings, it gardham, it clings very firmly. Okay, so that's the meaning of this particular slokam of Swami Desikan. Let me go on to the next slide. Now, one of the things that is mentioned in this slokam is that Emperor takes the initiative. So even when he sees his Bhagavatas far away, as long as they are thinking about him, he takes the trouble to go and meet them. So that's exactly what that Dura Datta Bhimukyam means. Even when they are far away, he gives them his presence, right? Now that's that kind of sentiment, that Emperor himself takes the initiative to go and meet people as long as they are inclined toward him. He takes the trouble to go and meet them more than halfway. Now that sentiment is also conveyed in several Divya Prabandham Pasurams. So we'll see one or two here. So in Tirumalai, which is written by Thondaradi Pudiyarvar, so Thondaradi Pudiyarvar says, Sudanai Kalvanahi Thurtarodu Isainda Kalam, Madarar Kayarkan Yennum Valayil Pattu Arunduvenai, Podare Endru Solli, Pundiyul Puhundu Tanpal, Adaram Peruga Vaita, Araganur Arangamandre. So this is a very beautiful it's a very beautiful pasuram. So what he is saying is that there was a time when I was a Sudanai, so I was deceitful. Kalvanai, so Sudanai, you can think of it as I was a rogue, he says. Kalvanai, I was a thief for some time. Durtarodu, Isainda Kalam, I was associating with wicked people. Madarar Kayarkan Yennum Valayil Pattu. I was also caught in the net of fish-eyed damsels. Kayarkan Madarar, fish-eyed damsels, I was caught in their net. But Valayil Pattu Arunduvenai, I was sinking. Arunduvenai means I was sinking. At that time, Emperor took the initiative and he says, Podare endru solli, inge vada appa, inge va appa endru solli. The word Podare conveys a certain amount of love. Even in Periyarvar's Yasoda Bhavam, you will see Yasoda addressing little Krishna, and when she wants him to come, she would sometimes say Podare. Okay, for example, Paribhavam Pesa Tarikkagillain Paviyenukku inge Podaraye. So she says, the neighbors are all complaining about you. Inge Vada Kanna, Paviyenukku inge Podaraye. Please come, O Lord, O Krishna. So the word Podare, it conveys a lot of love. It's not just come here. It's more of a very affectionate, won't you come here, darling? That kind of a thing. Podare endru solli, Pundiyul Puhundu. So Emperor said, Inge va appa endru solli. So come here, oh my son, he says. And Pundiyul Puhundu, he entered my mind. You see the initiative being taken by Emperor here. Pundiyul Puhundu. It's not that Thondaradi Pudiyarvar had to do something. He says, Emperor himself entered my mind. Pundiyul Puhundu, Tanpal Adaram Perugavaita. You see, everything is being done by Emperor here. He entered my mind, he says. He Pundiyul Puhundu, Tanpal Adaram Perugavaita. So he increased the love that I have for him. Tanpal, Avanpal, Adaram means Anbu. Anbu Perugavaita. Araganur Arangamandre. So that's the kind of Lord that resides in Sri Rangam. That's what Thondaradi Pudiyarvar says. The key thing to note is that this is the initiative taken by Emperor. Emperor takes the initiative. Now, even in Amalanadi Piran, Tirupanarvar's Amalanadi Piran, that same idea is conveyed, that Emperor takes the initiative, toward Bhagavatas who are inclined towards him. He says, this is in his very first pasuram, the last two lines, Nimalan, Nidhi Vanavan, Need Madilarangattamman, Thiru Kamalabadam Vandu, En Kannilulana Okkindade. The key operative word here is Vandu. So Nimalan, for example, means is easily accessible to Bhagavatas. Ninmalan, he does not have the fault of seeing his Bhagavatas faults. That's a beautiful word. Ninmalan means he does not have the fault of seeing his Bhagavatas faults. Nidhi Vanavan, so the Lord of Paramapadam, which is a just world. Nidhi Vanavan, Need Madilarangattamman is the Lord of Srirangam, which has this great big ramparts, the walls. The Thiru Kamalapadam Vandu En Kannilulana Okkindradhe. He says, Emperor's Kamalapadam, his lotus feet came on its own. Vandu means it came on its own. I didn't have to go seek it, he says. It came on its own and entered my eyes. En kannil ullana okkindade. It entered my eyes. So that's what he's saying. But the key idea that he is conveying is that the initiative came from Emperor, perhaps because he was inclined towards Emperuman. So any Bhagavatas, anyone who is inclined towards Emperuman himself takes the trouble of entering him and taking him as his servant. Nammalvar also conveys the same thing in Thiruvaimuri. Pattudai adiyavarku eliyavan. Bhakti udaya adiyavargalukku avan eliyavan. So he is easily accessible to those who have a lot of bhakti towards him. Okay, so I will not go through the rest of it. He goes on to say pirargalukku ariya vittagan. For all the others is very difficult to access, very difficult to get hold of, and so on. He is particularly enjoying the fact that Emperuman allowed a meek woman like Yashoda to tie him up. So here is the Lord of the entire universe. He is mightier than anyone that you can think of. And here is this meek Yashoda. And what was she able to do? She was able to tie up the Lord of the entire universe. And it must be because Emperuman was willing. It must be because Emperuman goes out of his way to please his Bhagavata. So Bhakti Udai, Pattudai, Adiyavarku Eliyavan. That's the essential message of this particular Thiruvaimuri. Okay. And I've already talked about this Adharam, Madhuram, etc. And now, since we were talking about Emperuman's face here, like I said, the face is perhaps the most celebrated Angam of Emperuman, most celebrated for beauty. The Thiruvadi is celebrated for other reasons. So there are many, many Arvars who have talked about the beauty of Emperuman's face. So I'll just give 2 or 3 examples here. Again, this is from Amalanadipuran, the one that served as an inspiration for Swami Desikan to compose his bhagavad dhyAna sOpAnam. So there are 2 different pasurams which address Emperuman's face. Now, Swami Desikan deals with the face as a whole and deals with that in one slokam, but Tiruppan Alvar focuses in one pasuram on his voice, on his mouth, and then he also focuses on Emperuman's eyes in another pasuram. He almost takes 2 pasurams to describe the features of Emperuman's face. So here he says, Kayinar, Surisanganal, Aryer, Nilvarai, Bor, Mayinar. So he describes the fact that Emperuman has the Shanku, the Suri Shanku, Anal Aryer, the fire spitting chakra, etc. Nilvarai Bol is like a great big mountain. Mayinar, Tholabavarayar, he has the fragrance of Tulsi, Kamar, Nil Mudiyam, Ayyanar, Aniyaranganar, Arvin, Anaimise Mayam, Ayanar, he lies on the snake bed, etc. But the beautiful part is Seyya Vai Ayyo Ennai Sindai Kavarndaduve. Or the Seyya means red. Vai of course refers to the mouth, or specifically the lips in this case. Ayyo Ennai Sindai Kavarndaduve. The word Ayyo is very beautiful, and poets in Tamil often tend to use that word when they want to convey the idea that they are at a complete loss for words to describe the beauty of what they are seeing. Kamban has used it, and of course Tiruppan Alvar is using it here. Ayyo seyyavai ennai sindai kavarndaduve. Ayyo evvalavu azhagaga irukkirathu inda sivanda vai, and it has stolen my heart. It's so beautiful. Ayyo, I cannot describe how beautiful it is. Ennai sindai kavarndaduve. It has stolen my heart. But the point that I have mentioned multiple times before is that if you look at the first 3 lines of this pasuram, you will not know what Angam of Emperuman Tiruppan Alvar is going to describe, because they are generic. He talks about Kayinar, Surisanganal Aryad. He has the Shanku and Chakram in his hands. His body is like the great big mountain. He wears the fragrant Tulsi, and Kamar Nil Mudi, and then he's got the long hair. Yam Ayyanar, Ani Aranganar, he's in the beautiful Sri Rangam, etc. Aravin Anaimisime Ayanar, he lies on the snake bed. So far you have no hint that he is going to talk about Emperuman's mouth, and that's a feature that that's almost a key differentiator between Bhagavad dhyAna sOpAnam and the Tiruppan Alvar's Amalanadipuran. So generally Tiruppan Alvar describes Emperuman in generic terms, and in the last line, or sometimes in the last 2 lines, he gets to the specific Angam that he wants to focus on. Again, here's another one that focuses on Emperuman's eyes. Pariyanahi Onudal Kinda Amarar. So he's referring to the Hiranyakashipu's, the Narasimha Avataram, etc. Ariyadi Piran, Arangat, Amalan Muhat. So again, these are all generic. And now he describes the kangal, the eyes, in the last two lines. And here he's very, very descriptive. This, I think, is put something like 6 qualifiers to describe Emperman's beautiful eyes, kangal. Kariyavahi, he says they are dark in color. Pudai parandu, so the pudai parandu means they are wide, the eyes are wide. Milirndu, they are shining. Sevvari odi, so they have these, sevvari odi means red line, sevvari, vari means line, sevvari means red line. So he says Emperman has red lines in his eyes. Now the red lines are usually interpreted by Vyakhyanakartas in multiple ways. So one is the red lines always add beauty, and of course Emperman is the most beautiful thing in the world, so obviously he would have red lines. But then more importantly, that red lines are also taken to signify Vatsalyam, the Emperman's love towards the bhaktas. That's the second interpretation of the red lines. And the third one is that Emperman never sleeps, because even though he seems to be in a yoga nidra is not really real sleep. It's just a pretend sleep, if you will, or he's kind of lost in thought about how to protect the world. So Emperman never sleeps, and of course, a person never sleeps, he would expect his eyes to be red, and that's another reason for this Sevvari Odi. So that's the fourth qualifier or adjective that he adds. Ninda, so these are long eyes, Ninda. Periyavaya kangal, the sixth adjective. Periya means big eyes. So Kariyavahi, Pudai Parandu, Milirndu, Sevvari Odi, Ninda. Periyavaya kangal, ennai pedamai seidanave, ennai paithyamaki vittana and the kangal ingira. So he says that they've made me, they've kind of made me kind of intoxicated. So pedamai means someone whose brain is not working properly. So in that sense, you can say that Emperman has intoxicated me. That's how beautiful his eyes are. And now, again, describing the face, for example, other Arvars, I'm talking about Thirumangai Arvar here. In Nayika Bhavam, he is referred to as Parakala Nayaki. In Nayika Bhavam, he says, Chambavaram, your vayin varnam. Again, he refers to the fact that his mouth is the color of coral. Chambavaram, vayin varnam. Devar, ivaradu uruvam sollil. If I have to describe his entire form, uruvam, pavala tiraleyum. Means arahiya, beautiful. Pavala tiral, it's not just one pavaram, it's a pavala tiral, it's a heap of corals, he says. The pavala tiraleyum oppar, that's how beautiful he is, says Parakala Nayaki, describing the beauty of her lover. And again, the word, instead of ayo, she uses the word acho. Acho and ayo, they mean roughly the same thing. Acho, uruvar arahiyava, ayo, ivla varagaga uruvar irukka mudiyuma. Can anyone be so beautiful? The beauty of this particular padigam of Parakala Nayaki is that every pasuram ends with Acho Varuvar Aragiva. So Parakala Nayaki describes the beauty of Emperman in different ways in different pasurams, but she always ends every pasuram with this Acho Varuvar Aragiva, Varuvar Ivalavaraga Irukka Mudiyuma, etc. So similarly here, Anigaru Thamarai Anna Kannum. So his eyes are like the beautiful lotus. Kayyum Pangayam. His hands are also lotus. That's how beautiful they are. Meni Vanat Anigal Mamugileyum Oppar. So in other words, his Tirumeni is like the huge dark clouds in the sky. And then she finishes off by saying, Acho Varvar Arageva, Yo Blavaraga Varvar Irukka Mudiyuma. And then Thiruvaimari, of course, again, Thiruvaimari, the Parankusanayaki, that is Nammarvar, in the guise of Parankusanayaki. She describes the beauty of Emperman's eyes. She wonders whether they are eyes or whether they are Emma's men who are out to kill her with the beauty of his looks. I think I should read the last line first. Ariyam Kannaviran Tirukkangal. Are they the eyes of Kannaviran, are they the eyes of Krishna? Or is it the case, Erayar Avi Unnum? Erayar means poor damsels, Avi Unnum, eating their lives. Yanai Kutram Golo, Kutram means Yama, Yanai means a pair of them. So are they a pair of Yamas in the form of the eyes that are out to get poor damsels by completely mesmerizing them? So that's how beautiful they are. So he says, I don't really know what those are. I don't know whether they are eyes or Yama, the two Yamas in disguise. Okay, so there are so many Arvars who have talked about the beauty of Imperuman's face. These are just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, and finally Narayaniyam. So Narayaniyam is in describing the face. He says, with a well-raised and shining nose, with a pair of shining gem ear studs in the shape of fish worn on your pretty ears, whose reflection on your blue sapphire cheeks shines as it moves hither and thither. That is, as the studs move hither and thither. And with a gentle smile between the slightly parted red cherry lips of yours. See, remember that this is very similar to Swami Desikan's description of Imperuman's face. The gentle smile between the slightly parted red cherry lips of yours, that's like the Charu Bimbadharoshtam. Then it says here, revealing the sparkling rows of your white teeth. Okay, so anyway, so Narayaniyam describes also the face in different terms than what Swami Desikan does. Okay, and here's the final, the poetic translation, and then we will chant this slokam. On his face a benevolent smile blooms, it enchants, and his lips so bewitching red bimbas perhaps. No more sufferings, O Lord, is the bhakta's refrain. His kataksham, it greets them when even afar, adds beauty to beauty, a golden tilak. On the forehead of Ranga, delightful to look. It's so generous, it welcomes a look from this Lord, and so lovingly, firmly, it clings to my heart. Okay? Okay, so let's now chant this. So I'll chant half lines, and then you can chant, when I chant it the second time, you can chant with me, okay? Sabhipraya smita vikasitam, Sabhipraya smita vikasitam, Charubimbadharoshtham, Charubimbadharoshtham, Dukkapaya pranayini jane, Dukkapaya pranayini jane, Duradatta-bhimukyam, Duradatta-bhimukyam. Now this symbol here means I'm not going to pause for reasons I'll explain later. Kantam vaktam kanakatilakalankritam rangabhartuhu. Kantam vaktam kanakatilakalankritam rangabhartuhu. Swante gadham mama vilagati. Swante gadham mama vilagati. Swagato dharanetram. Swagato dharanetram. So here I didn't pause because the word alankritam kind of gets split here. So the a part comes on the left and the lankritam comes on the right. So if you paused, then you will start by saying lankritam rangabhattu. But then there's no word called the lankritam. So instead of creating that awkwardness, so when this occurs very rarely, so you shouldn't have to worry about it. When you see this notation, it means don't pause. Okay. So let's chant the whole slokam. You will chant with me. Sabhipraya smita vikasitam, Charubimbadharoshtham, Dukkapaya pranayini jane, Duradatta-bhimukyam, Kantam vaktam kanakatilakalankritam rangabhartu. Swante gadham mama vilagati, Swagato dharanetram. That Swagato dharanetram, this generously welcoming eye, that's also beautifully captured in this picture of Sri Krishna. Okay, slokam number 9. So this time the subject, we are climbing one more step. Swami Desikan is climbing to, this is, by the way, this is the very last slokam that describes a specific angam. There are still 3 more slokams after this, but a description of the angams is completed after this part, this slokam. And here the topic is the Emperor's crown. And he says, by meditating on his crown, my mind has attained serenity. Okay, so let's go through the meaning of this slokam. He says his crown, Emperor's crown, has enduring fragrance. Where does that fragrance come from? He's wearing flowers that are strung, on a string, that are strung together. So he's wearing those flowers that are strung together on the locks of his hair. So he said, so Swami Desikan says here, he's wearing them inside his locks of hair. And that's what is giving him the enduring fragrance, or they're giving the crown the enduring fragrance. Now look at this here. So here Swami Desikan, when he talks about the locks of hair, he goes on to say that they are revered from the Devi's soft touch. In other words, he says that the hair was combed by Sri Devi, Bhudevi, and Neela Devi. So think of this. So Sri Devi, all the Devis have combed and done a nice hair job on Emperorman. And so therefore their sparsham, their touch, has been received by the locks of hair, and that gives them a special glory, he says. So therefore they are revered even more because the Devis have touched them in the process of combing Emperorman's hair. So they are revered from the Devi's soft touch. And then Swami Desikan, he does reveal a sense of humor here, kind of maybe a dry sense of humor here. So he says, Emperorman's locks of hair, they're not straight. They are curled, he says. And so how curled are they? Well, Swami Desikan gives an analogy, which is very beautiful. It's very amusing. He says they are as crooked. The word crooked is used as a synonym for curled. They are as crooked as the words of angry Chora ladies. So remember that Srirangam is in the Chora kingdom, and Swami Desikan pokes gentle fun at the temperament of Chora ladies. So he says that the Chora ladies have a temperament, and as a result, all it takes is a little bit of annoyance, and then out come all these, fiery words from them. And so just as crooked as those words are, that's how curled Emperorman's locks of hair. So, the picture here is supposed to capture that. Crooked or curled like the words of angry Chora ladies or his locks of hair. So if you're from the Kaveri region of Tamil Nadu, and if your husband makes a snide remark about how sharp your tongue is, I think you can say, well, what do you expect from me? Even Swami Desikan has acknowledged the power of the Chora tongue. Just deal with it. So that you can say that, and that you will never hear it again from him. So anyway, so the Swami Desikan, he goes on to say, the crown's root, that is the bottom of the crown, is blessed by contacting these beautiful locks of hair which were touched by the Devis in the process of combing Emperorman's hair. And then he goes on to say that Emperorman is wearing these chaplets. Chaplets are kind of string ornaments of gems. And so he's wearing those chaplets or string ornaments of gems on his locks of hair. And the glorious light from them makes the crown look multicolored. So that is this Lord of Srirangam's crown. So the light from those chaplets are making the crown multicolored. And this part is beautiful. He says, now remember that crown is the sign of a monarch, sign of a king. So Swami Desikan therefore uses the word Raja here, the good ruler. So he equates the crown itself to a ruler. So he says the crown itself is like a monarch to me, is like a king to me. And so I have now gained a good ruler, a good king who rules over me. And because he rules over me, my sense organs and my mind, they have all become still. Previously, they were wandering hither and thither. But now I have a ruler who has good control over my sense organs and my mind. And as a result, he goes on to say, so having obtained a good ruler, my mind's disposition has attained a serene state as opposed to its previous restless state. Okay, so that part is very beautiful. In other words, the dhyAna on Emperorman's crown has essentially given him a ruler, and because of that ruler, he now has much better control over his senses and over his mind as well, and they're not wandering anymore. Okay, so let's go through the slokam word by word. So Malyair anta sthira parimalai. Okay, so the Malyair, of mala, think of the word mala. So the flowers that are strung together in the form of a mala. So Malya is from the strung flowers. Anta means inside. So the inside, the locks of hair. So they create this sthira parimalai. Parimalam means fragrance. Sthiram means enduring. Okay, so the crown has enduring fragrance. Sthira parimalai, the enduring fragrance. What does it come from? It comes from the malais, that's from the strung flowers that are antar. Antar means inside the locks of hair. So that's the first thing he says. This crown has enduring fragrance from flowers that are strung on strings and worn inside his locks of hair. And then he goes on to say, Vallabha sparsha manyai. Now, what does Vallabha mean? Vallabha means darling or sweetheart. So, for example, when you hear somebody named Sri Vallabha, so that means it's the darling. He is the darling of Sri, and therefore it's a name for Emperuman. But Vallabha by itself just means darling or sweetheart. So in this case, the Vallabha refers to the darling of Emperuman, or the sweetheart of the Emperuman, refers to the Devis. And their sparsha, as you know, means touch. Manye, so the manye means respected or celebrated, revered, etc. So the crown, the locks of hair are celebrated, they're glorious, etc. from the sparsham of the Devis, the Sri Devi, Bhu Devi, and Nila Devi. And here's the amusing part about the Chora ladies. Kupya Choli Vachana Kutilai Kuntalai. So Kuntalai means locks of hair, Emperuman's locks of hair. Well, what are they like? Well, they are kutilai, he says. Kutilai means crooked. So Emperuman's hair is crooked. Well, give me an analogy. Well, the analogy he gives is Kupya. Kupya means, remember the word kopam? In Tamil, we use the word kopam. Kupya, kopam, they are the same thing. Kupya, kopam, all mean angry, right? So Kupya Choli, angry Chora ladies. Choli means Chora ladies. The angry Chora ladies, their vachanam, their words, kutilai, as crooked as they are, that's how the kuntalai is. That's how Emperuman's locks of hair is. Kupya Choli, vachana kutilai, kuntalai. Shlishta mule, mulam means the root of the crown is touching the locks of hair. Shlishta mule, that's what the Shlishta mule means. Ratna pida, dyuti shabalite. So now pida, apida means the chaplets that I was referring to, the string ornaments that have gems that have ratna in them, so that have gems in them. The light from them, dyuti means light. Shabalite, as a result of that, the crown is multicolored. So the crown is multicolored, shabalite, from the light. Dyuti means from the light. Where is the light coming from? It's coming from the apida. The apida are the chaplets, that is that string ornaments which have ratna in them. Okay, and they're all. What are we talking about here? The Rangabhattu's kirite. Rangabhattu, the Lord of Sri Rangam. Kirite, Kiridam. You know, Tamil, even in Tamil we say Kiridam. In Kiridam we say, Kiridam is really Kirite, Kiritam in Sanskrit. So Rangabhattu's Kirite, on his crown, that's where they are multicolored. The crown is multicolored from the light that's coming from the apida or the chaplets that have gems in them. Then Rajan Vatya Sthitim Adhigata Vrittayash Chetasome. Now, Chetas means mind or consciousness. Remember the word Chetanam and Achetanam. So Chetanams are things that have a conscience, the sentient beings. Achetanams are the ones that don't have a conscience, that don't have which are insentient. So they're the Chetas and Chetana, they all come that same root. So the Chetas here refers to mind or consciousness or mind. He says, me, Chetasho me, my mind. And its vrittaya, its disposition, has attained. So it's adhigata. Adhigata means it has attained a firm. Sthitim means firm. Rajan Vatya has obtained a good ruler. So Raja means a ruler. Rajanvatya means I have obtained a good ruler now in the form of this crown, because the crown is equated to a monarch. And as a result of having obtained a good ruler, I have now attained adhigata sthitim, a firm, serene state. So sthitim is the opposite of wandering. Sthiti is firm, fixed, as opposed to wandering. So it's referring to a serene state as well. So I have now attained a serene state. What exactly has attained a serene state? Me, that's my chetas, my mind or my conscience. Vrittaya, or the disposition, my ennudaya manathin poku, has attained this serene state. Okay, so that's what he means here. Okay, so let's go on to the next page here. Now, I mentioned earlier that when you look at the Mulavar or Utsavar, I think, if you are in the right frame of mind, you will not treat it just as a representation of Emperuman. You will treat it as Emperuman, and then all kinds of things will come to your mind. For example, when Desikan looks at Emperuman's crown or Emperuman's head, he sees that lock of hair. He sees that Devis have been at work, combing it, etc. And so you will be saying, if you are in a similar state of mind, you will look at Emperuman's head, his lock of hair on the Mulavar or Utsavar, and you will say, aha, Yashoda Variya, Krishna Avadarathil Yashoda Variya Mudiyallava Idu. Aren't these the same locks of hair that Yashoda combed during Krishna Avataram? Now, Periyarvar, in a lot of his padigams, has assumed Yashoda Bhavam. He has imagined himself to be Yashoda, and he has really enjoyed Anu Anuvaga, bit by bit, atom by atom. He has enjoyed the process of bringing up Krishna. And there's a whole padigam referring to about 10 verses in Periyarvar Tirumuri, in which he enjoys, calling the kakai. Kakai is the crow, that ubiquitous bird in India, calling kakai to come and comb Krishna's hair. Okay, so since Swami Desikan talks about Vallabhas Parshamanya, he talks about the Devis having worked on his hair, having combed his hair, I think that this comes to one's mind as well. So in Periyarvar Tirumuri, so there are several pasurams that end with Kuralvaraya Kakai, oh Aragia Kakaye, come here. Kuralvarai, in Krishnanuடைய, in the Kurandayin, Kural means hair, lots of hair. Varai, Vari Viduvayaga. So, O Kakai, O crow, come here and comb the hair of this little boy, this little Krishna. And then this Yashoda, of course, this is in Yashoda Bhavam, that's Periyarvar is talking as if he is Yashoda. And so he is going to say, the beautiful thing about it is that Yashoda, on the one hand, will treat Krishna as a helpless child who needs to be amused, etc., who needs a friend, who needs a companion, etc. And then with the other half of her mouth, she will talk about him as if he's the Sarveshwaran, he's the Lord of this universe, etc. So here, Yashoda, or at least Periyarvar in the guise of Yashoda, is saying to the Kakai, Pinda Tiralayum, Peikku Itta Neer Chirunorum, Undarku Vendini Odit Thriyade, Andathu Amarar, Peruman Aragu Amar, Vandu Otta Irunda Kodal, Varai Kakai. So what he's saying to the Kakai is this: oh Kakai, don't run around, don't waste your time running around for Shraddha Pindam. That's what Kakais do, right? Shraddha Pindam, and watery rice offered to ward off ghosts. For example, Pinda Tiralayam, that refers to the Shraddha Pindam. Peikku Itta Neer Chorum, watery rice offered to ward off ghosts. He says, Pinda Tiralayum, Peikku Itta Neer Chorum, Undarku Vendi, Adai Unbadarkaga, that is to eat them, Ni Odi Thriyade. Don't go wandering around looking for that pindam that people give you on Shraddhas, or the watery rice that they offer to ward off ghosts, etc. Instead, I have something more important for you to do, something that is more exciting for you to do. Andattu Amarar. He is the Andattu Amarar Peruman. So he is the Lord of the Devas of this world. Andattu Amarar Peruman. So, O Kakai, this handsome boy, do you know who he is? He is the Lord of all the Devas and Nitya Suris. And then she goes on to say, Aragu Amar Vandu Otta Irunda Kural. His Kural is the Irunda, it's dark. Dark like what? Dark like bumblebees, she says. Aragu Amar bumblebees. Aragu Amar, the beautiful bumblebees. So his hair is as dark as the beautiful bumblebee. Won't you come and comb his hair? Kural Varaya Kakai. Mayavandan Kural Varaya Kak. Mayavan means he's a great wonder. Avanuடைய குரலை வந்து வரமாட்டாயா. So she gives the crows something better to do than running around looking for that Shraddha Pindam. So she has this Yashoda, actually Periyarva disguised as Yashoda, has a whole padiyam in which she invites the kakai, again giving various reasons for why the kakai should come. For example, she says, Yannayam yangal pudimurudum aatkonda, mannanai vandu kuralvaraya kakai, Madhavandan kuralvaraya kakai. So he says here, Yannayam yangal pudimurudiyam even aatkondan. He took me as his servant. He took this entire Ayar community as his servant. And Mannanai, he's our king, our emperor. Vandu Kuralvaraya Kakai, Madhavandan Kuralvaraya Kakai. He's the consort of Sri Devi, mind you. So come and comb his hair. And then Uttrana Vesini Oditriyade, Atrekum Vandu Kuralvaraya Kakai, Aryandan Kuralvaraya Kakai. She says, don't waste your time chattering away, O crow. Come here daily and comb his hair. He holds that mighty discus in his hands. Oh, come now, crow, and can come and comb his hair. And then just one more example. Dandatin Sipal Kuralvaraya Kaka. You see, she doesn't want anything but the best for her child. So she says, bring a comb that is made of ivory, and then use that to comb my little boy's hair. Dandam means ivory, the tusk of an elephant. Dandatin Sipal Kuralvaraya Kakai, Damodaran Kuralvaraya Kakai. So, O Kakai, bring a comb made of ivory. This boy deserves nothing less. He is Damodaran, so treat him with the respect he deserves. Okay, so it's very beautiful. Now, one other comment here. When Swami Desikan talks about Rajan Vatya Sthitim Adhigata Vrittayas Chetasome. So he says that the crown is an emperor. As far as I'm concerned, I've now obtained a ruler. So I now have a ruler who rules over me. And so all of my senses and my life and my mind are subjects that are well controlled by this ruler. Now, it's our senses and our mind, they are the hardest to control. And there are lots of poets who have talked about that. So Tirumular, for example, has written a poem which is kind of like a riddle. It's an interesting riddle. He uses the word parpan. Now, parpan has a particular meaning that you are probably most familiar with. But part of this riddle is that it'll turn out that the word parpan has a different meaning than the way it's used in Tamil Nadu. Okay, so parpan agattile, and so let me just refer to that as parpan without explaining who that parpan is. So parpan agattile, in the house of that parpan, Pal pasu aindu undu. There are 5 cows that yield milk. Okay, so it's also the first statement of a riddle. Meiparum indri verittu tirivana. Meipar means one who oversees them, oversees the cows, a cow herd, if you will. Meiparum indri, without an overseer, without a cow herd. Verittu tirivana. So they are uncontrolled. Verittu, uncontrolled. And Tirivana said they wander around. Okay, so he's revealing more and more of that puzzle, if you will, riddle. And then he goes on to say, so imagine that. So there are 5 pasus or 5 cows that are capable of giving milk. However, they are uncontrolled and they're wandering all over the place. So they're not giving milk at all. And then he says, Meiparum mundai. So if they somehow acquire this overseer or a cow herd, if you will, Veriyum adanginal, if their uncontrollability comes into control, then the parpan pasu aindum palai churi me. These 5 cows, they will pour milk. Okay, so that's what it means. Now, who is this parpan then? Well, this parpan is really nothing but Jivatma. And what are these 5 cows? The 5 cows are the 5 sense organs, our jnanendriyams. And what does it mean to say that they are verittu tirivana? Well, they are uncontrolled, our sense organs, and I think you should include the mind here as well. They're verittu tirivana. So they have absolutely no control. That's because we generally are not able to control them, and they wander all over the place. And so Meiparum undai, so if they ever acquire an overseer, and Virium Adanginal, so they become controlled, then those Patwan Pasu Aindum, those 5 cows, namely those sense organs and the mind, Palai Churime. Here the Pal refers to the Jnana Pal. So in other words, they will pour the milk, they will pour the milk of wisdom, okay, the divine wisdom. That's what divine knowledge, if you will. So Parpan in this case, in contrast to what you might have thought it meant, it's referring to Jivatma here. And what Swami Desikan is saying is that now that he has seen the crown, he has done dhyanam on the crown of Emperuman, that crown is now that Maypar that is controlling his 5 senses as well as his mind. And as a result, he is now serene and he is able to just focus on divine knowledge. Okay, and finally, this Narayaniyam, so again on Emperuman's hair. It says here, I see your big bundle of blue tresses, which is curly, dense, pure, and pretty, which is tied together by a garland of mandara flowers, which is extremely pretty due to your crest jewels, which is encircled with a cluster of peacock feathers with their shining and glistening eyes. So there's a reference to the peacock feathers as well, because Narayaniyam is specifically about Krishna. So here you can see the peacock feathers brought into the picture here. So which is encircled with a cluster of peacock feathers, and on the peacock feathers there's shining and glistening eyes of the peacock feathers. And I also see your pretty forehead comparable to the crescent moon on the 5th day, on which there is a white vertical sandal paste. Okay. Now, one interesting thing to note is that Tirupanarva, in his Amalanadi Piran, he stops with the face. He does not go to the crown. Okay, he does not go to the hair or the crown of Emperuman. So in that sense, the 8 angams that Swami Desikan describes are not exactly the same angams that Tirupanarva has focused on as well. Okay, here's the final poetic translation, and then we'll chant it. It's got fragrance enduring from flowers on locks of fine hair, which is hallowed the Devis did comb. They are crooked, the locks upon which the crown rests, like the tongue of the ladies of Chora annoyed, and a medley of colors delightful to watch, from the gems of the chaplets hid Ranga's great crown. On this crown of fine monarch I'm focused for good, and I'm restless no more in this kingdom of calm. That's very beautiful. The last part, which says, I'm now calm because I now have a king. So far I've been without a king, but now I have a king, so I'm able to control my senses. I'm able to control my mind. Okay. Okay, so let's chant it, and then that we'll call it a day after that. Okay. Malyairantastiraparimalaihim Malyairantastiraparimalaihim Vallabhasparshamanyaihim Vallabhasparshamanyaihim Kupyacholi vachanakutilai Kupyacholi vachanakutilai Kuntalai shlishtamule Kuntalai shlishtamule Ratna pida dyutishabalite Ratna pida dyutishabalite Rangabhartu kirite Rangabhartu kirite Rajanvatya stitimadhigata Rajanvatya stitimadhigata Vrittayaschetaso me Vrittayaschetaso me. Get the whole slokam now together. Malyairantastiraparimalaihim Vallabhasparshamanyaihim Kupyacholi vachanakutilai Kuntalai shlishtamule Ratna pida dyutishabalite Rangabhartu kirite Rajanvatya nitya sthitim adhigata vrittayaschetaso me. Okay, and then we'll finish by reciting the final Tanyan. You can say it along with me. Kavitarkiga simhaya kalyana gunasaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Okay, let me stop the recording.